From the center of the galaxy, this is ForceCenter, show about Star Wars, pop culture, and the ultimate adventure. Decades of talking about Star Wars. I'm Ken Napzok.
I'm Jenn Landa, in the era ForceCenter.
Yeah. And look, I'll be honest. We don't even know what this episode's about today. We don't.
That's true.
We're gathering. Joseph sends his regards. He's back home at the time of this recording, premiering his film, Dead Media. Hopefully some of you listening now got to go to the event. But Jenn, this is our 10th anniversary month as a podcast. October 2015 we started. Where were you in 2015?
I will never I had just had my eldest child, and I will never forget. Actually I do kind of forget where I was, but I was vacationing with my mom, a little weekend trip down south. What is it? Solano Beach, I think it is.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
South.
Oh, over there. And I believe I had gotten a text from you or an email. No, it must have been an email. It was an email from you saying, "Hey, I have this new show. We really enjoyed having you on Jedi Alliance, and it's called ForceCenter, and it's with Joseph Scrimshaw. I think you met him, and we just really want to celebrate Star Wars." And I remember my daughter was in the other room in her crib, and I just was like, "Yeah, I need this. I need to have something for me to make me feel like a human again." And I was really excited and flattered that you thought of me.
Well, I never heard that story. I never heard the other side of an email that I sent from an old apartment in Studio City that seems like a lifetime ago. That's great. And that's what I wanted to gather here today as we have this kind of month-long into November celebration of 10 years, which really is a celebration of the community that allowed us to do this and continues to allow us to do this. But it is, this last decade has marked, I've had quite a life for the last decade, good, bad, and otherwise. And I've had a lot of opportunity this year to stop and look back. And a lot of it is with, Jenn, regret. Why did I do that? And how come I failed there? And then I'm like, well, also, we started this podcast and it's still going strong. That's a success. So I want to look back. I want to celebrate. And I want to see where we are now, not just as a podcast going forward, but as Star Wars fans. Just so much has happened in the last 10 years. But yeah, I do want to. So free-form conversation here, Joe. But I really value your perspective on this of when the show, when we launched the show, we were coming up with the show. Yeah, it made perfect sense to me to bring you into Jedi Alliance #1 first, which I had to track you down. We've told that story before. I had to find some business email that you didn't even have anymore.
Right. Yeah. My website I think I had it through my website, and I put it on my YouTube channel because I had seen that other big YouTubers did that. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And Maud and I got you in Jedi Alliance. What was it like, when digital media was expanding rapidly and all those things that you loved as a child suddenly had some sort of value attached to it? What did it mean to you?
That is what I was just thinking about, going back to the Jedi Alliance days. Was podcasting was it felt like relatively new. The geek world, quote unquote, was still relatively obviously not new for us, but it had now become acceptable, and we were almost like the popular kids. And that was really exciting. Somebody who was not a popular kid, right? It wasn't shameful to talk about Star Wars in general. And as an adult, it was like, no, I like collecting figures. And it was like there was a sense of pride. And then having platforms to be able to discuss it, whether it's through YouTube videos or podcasting. And it was just really exciting to find a bunch of like-minded people who were also professionals. And that's one of the first things that struck me about you, is having come from the acting world and YouTube stuff. There's a lot of unprofessional people. Oh my God, who do not run a tight ship. And when I came in, you were cool and kind, but the utmost professional, where I was like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. I'm in good hands, because I'd never done a podcast before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, before Jedi Alliance, I don't think I had ever done a podcast before.
That's, impressive. Most impressive.
Terrifying.
Well, which is, again, this is the wonderful weirdness that is some of the things you say, where you're like, it's terrifying. Meanwhile, you're dancing in a train station in Los Angeles while the whole world. Well, I would curl up and die. But I also know what you mean. You're exposed live. Jedi Alliance was live at the time. You're sitting there talking about something you love, but it was new territory. And growing up, a young girl in the Star Wars world, your little light couldn't shine even more. You had to keep it hidden even more. So I was happy to bring you in for that reason. But um, and Maud, also at the professional. I mean,
Hmm.
she drove a lot of that ship too. I want to give Maud all the credit there for that. Um, how and how when you got into you're talking about the geek world being different, and we definitely felt suddenly like the popular kids. And trust me, it went to the heads of many people
Yes, it did. Yes, it
really
did.
badly, unfortunately, in some
Hmm.
cases.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, when you even first started covering cons and Star Wars stuff, there, go back. I want to even go back to that. How did that feel?
Oh, that was also terrifying when I remember I came up and I was like, I want to do a cosplay. I had been seeing
Mm,
people and I thought, oh, I like being crafty and I'll try it. I was terrified that people were going to laugh at me by wearing this Death Star skirt. I really,
mm,
really thought people were going to laugh at me. Little did I know. Little did I know what Comic-Con is like. And it's like the more authentic that you are, the more like you just really go for it, the more that everyone it's not like it's not about me, right? It's about like feeling
mhm,
connected to people. And it's like it's why we go to the movies, right? We're all getting this shared experience and we're all laughing at the same moments. And that's really what Comic-Con used to feel like
mm,
for me, where it's like, oh my gosh, you're dressed up as Lady Vader, and oh my gosh, you're Boba Fett, but like with a tie and and a coffee mug. Like it's just
mm,
silly. It's fun. Aren't we a bunch of weirdos who are coming together? And this is a safe space. And that's
mm,
really what Comic Con felt like for me in the beginning, for sure. I mean, no, I haven't
mm,
gone in the past couple years just because it's tougher for me to get
yeah.
into. I don't think I even,
Mm,
and it's become a little bit more, even more
mm,
commercial because I
sure.
know it was already commercial by the time like 2010. Because I have friends that
Yeah.
used to go prior to that. That were like, oh
Same.
no, it was really good way back.
Yeah. In my day, there were three card tables, and
Yeah,
someone wore a hat that said Star Wars. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and that time is fascinating too. Force Center definitely is born out of that era, even though we arrived in 2015. The early 2010s, the heady days of the early 10s. It was fascinating to be a part of, and I don't say it as a grouchy old veteran who's new kids got it easier, but
Mhm.
there was something just relevatory. Is that the word?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
that's the word
Yeah.
of I've lost my vocabulary after 17 years working in the security industry. I moved to LA pretty smart, and by the end of it, I was like, that dog talked. Um, no one believes me. I'm like, I was a well-read kid, well-read kid, and then I did 17 years of alpha male public safety. I was like, I don't know. I know 6 words. Um, but I had come from that world, and by in 2007, 8, I'm on stand-up comedy stages,
Mm,
making jokes about how horrible I am because I'm a nerd. Right? I used to wear a
mm,
Princess Leia shirt, and I'd bring up I'd dress up on stage. Occasionally, I'd bring a lightsaber on. I'd make some woe is me nerd joke. And I don't mind those still. I still have a couple of my set. I don't need Jon Stewart to pick on me for knowing all the history of Admiral Akbar, even though I love Jon Stewart. But from that, the internet starts connecting, YouTube starts connecting us. And I ended up getting plugged in with my buddy Matt Key, who's
mm.
plugged into Matt Mercer and that whole world, and the world that kind of becomes Critical Role. And I remember going to these parties that I'd have where everyone's dressed up. It's amazing, and there were professional cosplayers at these parties. Some very well known names now, but like there, and I just was blown away, Jen, that this was happening, and that
Yes.
we could have, like you said, the safety to be our nerdy self. That was pretty powerful to experience, and it led to Force Center. But you're exactly right. You're probably walking around San Diego going, "Where was all this in '87?"
oh my gosh. I mean, like, genuinely, I was like, this would have greatly changed my mental health as a young person. I mean, and that
Yeah.
really is like what I just love about how things have changed for nerd culture, geek culture, is it is in so many ways, with the
Mhm.
exception of, the cuckoos on YouTube, in so many ways, it is very inclusive and very like
Mhm.
accepting of neurodiversity and all different types of people, and just like, I love that, and that did not exist when we were kids. Let me ask
Mhm.
you, when did you come when were you doing groundlings? Because I feel like we had similar tracks. It's like we're both kind of doing like what, like the comedy. I didn't do stand up, but like
Mhm.
comedy, improv, all that stuff, and it felt like all of a sudden a portal opened up in this
Mhm.
world of like podcasting and geek culture.
Yeah, it was. I started training there '99. I
Wow, 99.
got voted out in '02. That's when my run ended there. Great, wonderful era.
That's a good run though.
Good run. Mikey Day and Kristen Wiig were in my class with me, good friends at the time, and Will Forte got cast on SNL one of the first days of my classes, and everyone was talking about it. It was a great era to be part of it. But even there too, I would write some sketches in which I was the lovable loser nerd who couldn't get any love, and I have action figures, and I'm an idiot, and everyone like, yeah, you got to do that. That's great. But then I get told by the director, it's a little too nerdy. No one's gonna get it. No one's
What?
gonna get it. Yeah,
Oh no.
no one's gonna get it. But yeah, then there was that portal open because obviously podcasting and the internet stuff was obviously exploding in the late '90s and 2000s, but it was in a different way. And our buddy Ken Plume was one of the first people in that world. And to get a podcast going, you had to it wasn't just an RSS feed. You had to know rocket science to get your podcast out there. I have some pals, Bryce Beckham and David Fickus, who of Drama 3-4 Productions, in like '99 or 2000, they went viral with a young Anakin audition video, and it cost them like $10,000 because the
What?
bandwidth on their website was too much. So to
Oh
go
my
viral
god.
was like a pain. Like it was a burden. You didn't want, oh please, I don't want this many people watching it. And so to watch it by 2005, 6, 7, that's when my friends are getting on YouTube as movie reviewers, that kind of stuff.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, the movie
it
reviewer culture.
exactly. It was wide
Wow.
open landscape, and I was part of the snark that was, oh, let's talk about Star Wars, i.e., let's make fun of it, even though we
Right.
secretly love it.
Yeah.
Um, but it was super exciting. That you're describing the feeling of looking around, going, wait, are we the cool kids now? Like, and the first time Tiffany Smith launched a Star Wars podcast, I think it was what was called Far Far Away. She brought Harloff on, and then that was at a horrible company at the end with an absolute piece of crap owner that
I know
I think
that.
is.
Oh, I was a part of that. I remember. That was, I think, the schmoes know. That was when they first started. This was way back, and I was a part of
Yeah,
something else related to that company
yeah,
that never took off.
yeah. We'll compare
Oh,
notes
we'll
off.
talk about
Yeah,
that. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
yeah.
Okay.
And I remember sitting around. Tiff and Harloff brought me over. I think Tiff texted me and was like, "Hey, come talk Star Wars." And I just remember. I don't know if you experienced this, whether it's later on with ForceCenter, Jedi Alliance, your first podcast, or when you're doing your videos, you got a lot of Star Wars related content out there from that era. But I remember being blown away. We're sitting in a studio. And remember, I come from radio, and I'm like, it feels like radio. We got real microphones. I thought
Yeah.
podcasting was done at your computer, and we got a studio, we got an engineer, and I'm talking about Star Wars. And I just remember feeling, I think I've arrived, not in terms of
Mm.
success, but in terms of, I am who I'm supposed to be. This is the right place.
Yeah. Yeah. All the skills, all the passions align into this thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That was life changing, where it's like, oh, I can talk about this, and we can like create a community around it. That was very, very new. Very new.
Very new indeed. And Force Center began, the idea was kind of, we all three kind of build this thing, but I remember my initial idea was kind of like, what if we all, like, I do a little monologue show? What if you do a show? What if you do a show? Then about every 2 or 3 weeks, we'll get together in my apartment in Studio City, sit around a bar table and record shows. The studio wasn't that mobile then. Eventually we did a lot of recording at Joseph's place, but, that was kind of the idea, but very quickly it became, we wanted to talk more. Joseph coming in to say, let's dive into themes. I remember the first time, Jen, you said something early on about Force Awakens in the trailer about every one of the characters has a mask on that they're taking off. And I was like, the genius, because it was, but also like, this is how I want to talk about Star Wars. How did you want to approach talking about Star Wars in that era?
Yeah, I think not being afraid to dive into the minutia, obviously
Mm,
discussing themes and things like that was very new to me. And one of the things that I've learned over the years is it's okay. And this is what you've always provided, you and Joseph, was the safe space to know that if I say something that is not accurate, not correct according to Star Wars canon or whatever, it could even be as simple as like a quote from Star Wars. I'm not going to get like raked over the coals for it. It's like, oh,
mm,
you might say, oh, actually, you mean blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's safe. It's
mm,
okay to make a mistake. Because prior to ForceCenter, I literally would have to like write things out to a T, know exactly what I was going to say because I was afraid that I was going to get,
mm,
you're not, because I did. I used to get all the time on my YouTube channel. You're not a real Star Wars fan. What do you know about blah, blah, blah? And it's like, or even in person. Oh, yeah, you're wearing that Star Wars shirt. Tell me about in 19, blah, blah, blah. And I don't like to be quizzed like that. I didn't feel like it was
mm.
fair that I was going to be tested on my knowledge, whereas my husband can wear a Star Wars shirt. And I was like, yeah, you're a Star Wars shirt. And I'm like, hey, I'm more of a fan than him. he doesn't,
he,
he
he
doesn't know
doesn't know
anything.
he didn't even know his name's Chewbacca. He calls him the dog.
He doesn't know anything about Kashyyyk. So yeah, it was just
Yeah.
really it was very freeing where I felt like I could put my guard down for the first time. I
Mm,
felt like I could really just explore these things in a way that I had never approached it.
mm,
And really going deep.
mm.
Yeah, that was not something I had really done quite like that before.
Yeah, and we've all, I think, grown and changed. Obviously, as human beings, a lot have happened. Lots have happened in the last 10 years. Lots of things. But like I've matured as a Star Wars fan.
Mm.
I also um, lost my sense of humor about Star Wars a bit. That I'm trying to get it back. That's not related to the show, just the atmosphere that emerged, and maybe had to do with some of the other shows that I was involved in. But yeah, how did this show begin to maybe even change you as a Star Wars fan, or affect you, or affect the way you looked at it versus where you were? And we don't have to bring up any videos in the past. I know I remember seeing one video that I don't know if you do anymore, Jen, but
Yeah. I wouldn't do that. No, it really taught. It opened up my world in terms of Star Wars of what I
mm,
enjoyed. It was much more limited to the OT and the Clone Wars
mm,
when I was gonna say when I was a kid. Well, when I was pre Force Center, I should say pre Force
uh,
Center.
we were
But
kids.
then yeah. But then you guys exposed me to Star Wars Rebels, to the prequels, which I was a
Mm,
notorious hater, and I never thought I would find any joy in it. And
mm,
just by listening to you guys talk about the things that you love with the prequels, not telling me, oh, you're wrong, right? Which is what we
mm-hmm,
often see in the fandom. You're wrong. You don't know anything because you don't like what I like. And it was like,
right.
you guys brought me in and we're like, okay, we understand why you might have a problem with Attack of the Clones, but here's what some of the great things that you might enjoy. And I was like,
Mm,
oh, I'd never thought of it like a noir type of
mm,
mystery with Obi-Wan at the center of it. It's like that's a totally different framing that I had never seen had I been left to my own devices. And so
mm,
that's why I'm so grateful for you guys because you've exposed me to things that I would have just been in my own little bubble, which is kind of what we see with not just our fandom, but just everything in
mm,
general. Everyone's in their own bubble, not
mm-hmm,
having been exposed to things that they
yeah.
might end up enjoying.
Yeah, and there's something to be said. A friend of mine said recently, we were talking about life, the universe, and everything on one of our morning walks, and he's just like, you have to be open to public evolution.
Oh,
meaning you have to be okay with growing
mm,
publicly and not just in terms of, because we're on a podcast that people listen to, but just as a human being. And ForceCenter definitely allowed for that. And sitting down and talking with you all, of the many things you bring to this channel and this podcast feed, the thing I perhaps value the most is that, like you said earlier, we are on this like same generation, same age group. As we learned, I think we were in the same church growing up for about a year or something in Orange County. But
so
like,
weird.
I didn't know a person like you existed.
Mm,
A girl Star Wars fan, even like I was told that wasn't real and this and that. And so to have your perspective meld into mine and Joseph's as we build the show out, like it started to change how I wanted to talk about Star Wars. And then I get great joys, and it still happens where one of us says something and you see my eyes kind of light up, like, oh my God, I love how that means this. I think that started to happen more and more where, yeah, I like Star Wars. I could make the references. I could win a trivia contest. I own these
mm,
things that represented it. And it had meaning to me, clearly. But to dig in deeper and when you dig far enough, there's a well of joy that I want to share with it, which is perhaps why I get so grouchy. And I tell these kind of vague stories when I'm at bars and I run into friends, or where I have to get my sense of humor about it back. But like when I see someone tearing apart Star Wars who's a Star Wars fan, and I'm like, you are denying yourself so much potential joy to find the true meaning, or a deeper meaning, not necessarily the true meaning, but a deeper meaning behind this stuff. And that started with ForceCenter and just hearing all of your different perspectives. It really helped me grow as a fan.
oh,
Really
thank
did.
you. Thank you. I think that really what Force Center has shown me, because I used to poke fun of things and I used to focus on the haters of The Force Awakens and all that stuff.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's such an energy suck. And it's like,
Mm,
what I have a finite amount of energy. And would I rather spend my day like being angry at people being angry at me about things? Or do I want
mm,
to just like celebrate what I want to celebrate? And obviously, sometimes we want to be critical of it or be
yep.
like, I don't like that. And that's okay.
Hmm.
It doesn't take away from my love of Star Wars, but I do think it is important to be able to have the space which you have
Hmm.
created to where it's like, that didn't resonate with me. Nope. I'm going to give it a chance because I love Star Wars. And, I notoriously, we've talked about Ahsoka, and I was like, but there are some things in the first season that really did resonate with me. And I
Hmm.
love the character of Ahsoka. And so I'm not going to be the people that put the red eyes on Dave Filoni. I'm going to come and I'm going to approach season 2 with an open heart and open mind. Right. And
Yeah.
that to me is what Force Center is all about. It's just like being
Hmm.
okay with
Hmm.
loving the things that we love and being open to the things that maybe we don't love.
Yeah, and I feel 10 years on, I want to be more myself, and I feel sometimes 11 seasons of broadcasting into this, we could maybe help foster an atmosphere that's um, it's not in our own bubble, but like, yeah, I want to be able to express more of like, that didn't work for me. Here's why, but that only means this works for me even more. Or like you said
Mm.
with Ahsoka season 2, there's nothing greater than new Star Wars in
Yeah.
which you have a chance to fall in love with something all over again. Not necessarily a
Mhm.
show, but a character, a moment, a scene. And each new episode, even as that journey through Ahsoka season 1, where it's like, that episode kind of didn't work for me. But next week or the next episode, I'm there because the potential for fall in love with Star Wars even deeper is always there. And that's always going to be the through line of Force Center. Even if I get a little bit more open with my that didn't work, or that person's bad for this business, or that person's bad for this franchise. Like there's all that kind of stuff. But yeah, but though early on Force Center, I go back and listen to those Databank Brawls, which isn't even the first year. I don't think we started Databank Brawl till late in our first year of 2016.
Mm.
Um, we were a little bit more snarky.
Were we?
Yeah, we were. We dropped a lot
Oh,
more F bombs, and I changed a lot of the way I look at things. But there was a little bit more just like, yeah, I think General Grievous sucks early on.
really?
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
think we
so
overlook it.
interesting. I
Yeah.
wonder what, yeah. Okay. I
Which, by
don't
the
know
way,
what to make of that.
I don't think General Grievous sucks because he
No.
actually became one of my favorite characters because of what he represents. But I hadn't engaged with that. But it's funny. This is business on air. Joseph and I were talking off air last week. We're going to dig up the original Force Awakens review and rebroadcast
Oh,
that.
wow.
I don't want to listen to it, but we might have to.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to hear what I have to say. I feel like I was yeah. I feel like I'm snarkier now. So that's interesting. That's interesting.
um, yeah, I don't recall you being too snarky. I don't know, but it's been part of the journey because
Yeah.
this was. I think that's the other thing too. You talk about. I love that you brought up like parallel journeys, just as two people in LA chasing creative
Mhm.
dreams, acting, writing, comedy. Um, I'm still surprised I didn't go hang out at Saddle Ranch a lot, but I know maybe you were part of the infamous Saddle Ranch wait staff there. I did go there a lot during that time. Um, but like we're entertainers, and I think a lot of this when this launched, it wasn't just hey, we're what would become angry YouTube car guys. We're not just being a-holes. We
Mm.
just felt like you had a microphone, you had to sing. We're putting on a show
Mhm.
and telling jokes, at least from my perspective. And so a lot of it was, yeah, let's make fun of Darth Vader saying no. Like, yeah, that seems like a good joke to make. And it was out of entertainment. I think it changed, especially by the time ForceCenter arrived and started to grow, where I was less about, we don't need to go for the joke. We need to go for something with a little bit more substance. Does that make sense? I don't know if you experienced it too. As an actor, performer, you're sitting there on a podcast stage with Maud and I, like you're putting on a show.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to be I mean, but that's also the thing that I loved because I came
Mm,
from the world of commercial acting where I literally just got rid of some of my commercial clothes from auditions because it's like I had to be fit into this box. I
mm,
literally had like, okay, you're the mom, the Latina mom. You're the
mm,
ethnically ambiguous person that helps at Best Buy.
mm,
I was generally like a salesperson for a long time. I was a fast food worker. Like I fit
mhm,
into these boxes of where they wanted me to be. They would never cast me as a quote unquote quirky Star Wars fan because I'm not what was
mhm.
stereotypical, right,
Yeah.
of what a Star Wars fan might be like in their
Mm,
minds and casting directors' minds. So really podcasting and Force Center was the first time where it was like, oh yeah, I can just be me. Like I don't
mm,
have to pretend to be something or to be like tough, which is a lot of times they want me to be street as a Latina.
mm,
Be
mm.
tough, be like J Lo. That's what they used to tell me. They wanted me to change my name to Sophia. Long story. Um,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, I could go
The
down that road.
these the very street tough Sophia. Yes.
Yeah, Sophia, but they liked Sophia because it was again ethnically ambiguous. And
Mm,
so and they were like
interesting.
they used to tell me, "You do not tell anyone that you went to college. You don't want people to know that." They really wanted me to play
Wow.
into this stereotype, right? Of being
Wow.
this tough street
Mm,
Latina. And I
mm-hmm,
came to Force Center with all that baggage and it was like, "No, actually I should be bringing my intellect and
mm,
my hours of looking at creatures. Like that's a strength. That's something that we can chat about and dive
mm,
into. I shouldn't hide that."
mm.
So yeah, it is entertainment, but it is also like feels so good to be my authentic self because there's no one I can talk to about Salacious B. Crumb than you. Like who I can't talk to anyone else about this kind of stuff.
Maybe now, but then, yeah,
Maybe
then
now. Mm,
definitely, definitely. We're coming to the end of this free-form conversation. One of many. We might do more of these when Joseph gets back up and running. We're going to celebrate our 10th year of being a show with maybe a live stream. We are talking. I'm not putting public pressure on him, but we're trying to figure out time to have Alex and Molly do maybe a cross interview show here because they celebrated 10 years as a channel back in January,
that's amazing.
which is great. It's a crazy, wonderful thing, and not
Yeah.
just that folks can have a living off this stuff, but just that it stuck. I wanted to start to maybe end the conversation, but like I just remember, again, I've told the story before, but for the record, like Maud was set to leave Jedi Alliance. She had been poached from another show,
Mm.
which was weird because one of the folks was the executive producer of Jedi Alliance, but felt it was okay to undercut my show by taking my co-host and paying her money because Jedi
What?
Alliance was free. So and by the way, she should have, like, I was like, you've got to do this. You've got
Sure.
we need money, like
Mhm. Of
as
course.
humans, go ahead and do this. and I knew this was coming, and I just was, the internet in 2014 for us, again, it's different if you're out there and you're like 30 and you're like, oh, you mean junior high internet? Like for us, it was oddly, I'll say the term settlers. Like it was wide open territory. We just weren't taking
Yeah.
it from anyone else. We were just settling wide open land. Little different use of the word there. But like I remember finding your stuff, just kind of doing a Star Wars search. I stumbled onto something and I was just like, this is an amazing thing here to watch. Someone going to conventions and interviewing the kid or that little girl that bowed before Vader. What did she do? The one
Yeah, she pledged, bowed down to Vader at
bowed down to
Disneyland.
Disneyland.
Yeah.
And watch some of your wonderful subversive man on the street stuff, or women on the street stuff, I should say more appropriately. But to watch that kind of, it was like, wow, this is neat, but is this going to stick? And by the time 2015 rolls around, and it was like, oh, this is going to stick. Just our ability to do this, and that gave me the confidence to say, hey, Joseph, Jennifer, let's do a Star Wars podcast together. This is going to be around a bit.
I mean, I can't believe 10 years, but that is because of you, because of Joseph, for showing up week after week, no matter what happens in our lives, right? It's that the consistency. And there's something so nice in knowing like maybe somebody's coming back to us and being like, oh, they're still going. Like
They're still going.
they're still going. All right, I'll jump back on, because there's something comforting, right, of knowing that like we're your buddies. We're still here. We're still hanging out, and we still have things to say. It might be a little bit different than it was back in 2015 and 2016. But it's nice to know that we can still come back together and chat about Star Wars however we want to.
Yeah, good way to kind of put a finer point on it here at the end. But yeah, no, I love because I get annoyed sometimes, though I understand it. I've stopped being annoyed by it. But that, hey, I thought you left after Screen Junkies. You're still here, Ken. Like I get that all the time. Well, good, and they're all positive. They're like, oh, hey, I thought you died. I don't know, I didn't see you.
No.
But every once in a while, we get the ForceCenter one of like, oh, hey, my algorithm kind of dropped you off, or I got busy, life, went to school, finished school, got married, had a kid, something, and I'm glad to be back. We see that a lot, and that's a good thing, and it's and this has been a part of our lives. I have maybe missed a total of 6 weeks in 10 years. This is something I do every week,
Your work ethic, man. You all don't know, like Ken holds it down, editing our videos, setting us up. Like, honestly, I don't have the tech capabilities to be able to do this. Like, remember I couldn't do it because I couldn't go to your place or Joseph's place in person. And you were like, hey, I got remote recording now. And I was like, I'm in. I'll throw up this Star Wars sheet and we'll do it. We'll broadcast. So
yeah. No, and I appreciate it. It's a pleasure. But yeah, so I'm not going to ask the big final question, Jen, of where do we see ourselves in 10 years? Because I don't know where I see myself in 3 months. But I do know ForceCenter will at least be part of that going forward. But you as a Star Wars fan, I think we're kind of entering a new era. Yeah. Mandalorian and Grogu, to me, is the kickoff of a new era of Star Wars. Yeah. Maybe a new kind of, we're in that next second decade of Disney Star Wars. Crazy to think. I'm excited. I'm more excited than I think even I thought I'd be, Jen. And I'm getting ready to celebrate Mandalorian and Grogu and all those wonderful things. So not where do you see yourself, but how do you feel right now going into this new era of ForceCenter and Star Wars?
I mean, with ForceCenter, I love being able to chat with you guys, to connect with you guys, even off air, just having our little conversations. Like it means a lot to me. I won't cry. But in terms of Star Wars, like Star Wars is funny because I go through phases where I'm like, I don't really need you. And then they do something like they release a trailer and suddenly I'm back in buying plushies galore because I'm in. And I do kind of feel like we're in a sleepy period of Star Wars, but next year is going to start ramping back up. And then we're going to get Star Wars Celebration in 2027. And I just feel like, Star Wars is going to be back and it's going to be good. It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Excited to be here. It's been quite a journey, Jen. I appreciate you being here every step of the way along the years. And I'm glad you answered a random business email on the back end of your website. Because that's how you had to do it back then.
I know. Oh, my
In my
goodness.
day, you had to hope they had a business.jen.landa. That wasn't the email address. No one sent it.
That's
No one
pretty close, but I don't have it anymore.
I don't have it anymore. So that is it for now. Thank you all for listening, and let us kind of find our footing on a open forum discussion about our 10 years. But our 10 years is truly about all of you. None of this would have lasted if you all didn't embrace us and continue to embrace us through the good times, bad times, and all the other times. So looking forward to that. If you're just discovering us, links down below on YouTube or where to find us. But if you're listening, ForceCenter Pod across social media platforms. We are on TikTok. I kind of got so swamped. I've got a little behind on posting clips. I apologize. A lot of things going on in all of our lives. It's kind of, we're celebrating 10 years, and it's probably our least productive month in 10 years. Like, we're going strong. I need next week off. Yeah.
Right.
But we're here, and you can support us directly on Patreon at patreon.com/ForceCenter. And hey, maybe we should do for the Patreon supporters, we'll do a 10-year Q&A kind of gather. If you got a question related to our 10 years, anything about the show, we'd love to hear about it. I'll post something up here in Patreon, and maybe we can gather that and do an episode soon. Jen, thanks for being here, not just today, but for the last 10 years.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Ken. I'm so grateful to you and Joseph for entrusting me. And even my moments where I'm like, I don't know the answer to that. I'm just going to try and stumble my way through, for literally, like, metaphorically holding my hand through it and being like, and even telling me sometimes off air, it's okay. You did great in those early episodes. It just was really a challenge for me. And I feel like this has been like therapy. It's been Star Wars therapy, Star Wars counseling for those of us who were bullied and didn't feel like we could talk about this stuff in public with other people. And thank you for that. And thank you all for listening. We're so grateful.
We are indeed.
I'm not really posting much, but you can find me at Jennifer Landa. Maybe I'll get back to it. Are we doing our tags here? Sorry.
Do a tag.
I got so verklempt.
No, do it.
Jennifer Landa. Yeah, no business email anymore. Just now we just have handles across all platforms.
There you go. Follow me at Ken Napzok. Hey, I'd really love a lot of you out there in the ForceCenter land to, if you can stomach me for a little more time during the week, my show, The Blathering Live, Mondays, Thursdays, Saturdays, we go live. It's a radio call-in show for modern age. We have a lot of fun. We get serious. We get poignant. We also get absolutely silly. Or, as I'm starting to do on Saturdays, get really drunk. I don't know how long I can continue that. But it's been a lot of fun having those buzz balls. All right, that's it for that show. But for this show, we'll see you next time here on ForceCenter.